Okay.
So since then, Lecrae, you know, and tell me, was that the beginning of your career, like the whole Rock the Lakes and all of that?
I mean, it
Was
was
that
early. It was definitely early on in my career for sure. Yeah.
okay? So I
Yeah.
followed since then. You know, followed your career, watched your progression, watched you evolve literally as an artist. It's just something I do. When I really like an artist, I'll throw that in. So with that being said, you have turned into a multi-dimensional artist,
Yeah.
best-selling author, entrepreneur, speaker, philanthropist, all of that good stuff.
Mhm.
So let's first start talking about some of that stuff. How have you been, engaging the culture, talking about Jesus out of the pulpits? I know you've been kind of going outside the pulpits,
Mhm.
and into a wider world of things, which I'm a millennial, so I get it. I love it. That's my
Mhm.
whole flow. In hopes of restoring, faith in people. Tell me a little bit about that journey.
Well, yeah, I think, for me, it's being authentic to who God has created me to be. And, I always tell people I'm from the jungle and the church is the greenhouse. So when people in the greenhouse see me out in the jungle, they're like, yo, what you doing out there? Get back in here. And I'm like, well, I came from this. I'm very comfortable in these spaces, in these places. Because people need to see their representation. They need to see something that they can relate to. And so for me, it's really just trying to exist in those places and spaces. And I was juggling that for many years, the greenhouse and the jungle, and it was trying on my soul, and so I had to kind of regroup and figure out who God wanted me to be, and that gave me a much more solid position. That was where you see me at now.
Sure, that's dope. You have a documentary release, an album release, book release, virtual album. That's a lot of work, but the word restoration. Let's talk about that. It's a very key theme in all of these different things that you're doing. Explain that direction. The word restoration for you.
Yeah, restoration is taking something that was broken and fixing it, or bringing it back to usefulness. And I think a lot of times, society is full of broken people and people who feel as if it's no hope left and it's a wrap for them. That's where we are today. Right now, a lot of people feel broken, and so that's really kind of what restoration is about.
Tell us a little bit about the book release itself, with questioning your belief within the scope of Christianity. And I'm not sure if you kind of touched on that, but tell me about that.
Yeah, the book is called How I Lost My Religion and Found My Faith. Comes out October 13th. And essentially, religion is when you're trying to earn God's love and earn love. Relationship and faith is about understanding that you are loved and operating from that vantage point. So it just chronicles my journey, allows people to see, how I was trying to do things to gain acceptance, and how I transitioned into doing things because I was accepted.
Sure. Also, you have spoken about your experiences dealing with trauma from systematic racism. Can you share with us that experience and ultimately where you are with that?
Yeah, I mean, as you look around society, you see racism exists everywhere, within the church, outside the church. I mean, every 5 seconds, we're seeing something different happening on the news. And so for me, it's been traumatizing and it's been difficult. And I've just come to realize that, it's nothing new under the sun. God is still good. And I've just got to lean on him through the process.
Sure. Let's talk a little bit about your album, the musical side of you. The song Deep End, what was the inspiration behind that?
Deep End was just a response to everything that was going on in society, and just trying to give people an example that we need to breathe, and an example of what it looks like to talk about the things that are troubling us. And I want to put that in song form for everybody out there.
Sure. I don't know if you've been watching what's been going on in Wisconsin, but I actually was born in Kenosha, born and raised pretty much majority of my life. Kenosha, then in Racine. My dad moved to Racine because he pastors there. But have you looked into the recent situation that has definitely occurred? I went out there yesterday on ground, just wanted to kind of feel the climate out, all of that good stuff. And from your perspective, what would be the cure for a Christian artist like you? What position do you think the voice that you should be using during a moment like this?
Everybody has to figure out the tool that they can use the best. I always tell people there's prayer, publicity, policy, and programs, and you got to figure out which tool works best for you. Some of us are good at policy and politics and able to petition for things to change. Some of us are going to be prayer warriors and praying for all parties involved, families involved. Some of us are going to be publicity people, and we're going to make our voices heard. Some of us are going to be programs. We're going to get involved in programs that change the state of things in our community. So it's just figuring out what tool works best in your hands.
Sure. As an artist, it's amazing that you are spread it out kind of more, not just on the music side, but you're doing the book thing, document. I mean, that's super dope. I love that. How do you juggle that? How do you actually juggle the different sides of you? I've seen you on YouTube. I've seen a clip. I don't know if you was preaching or if you were just kind of speaking, but regardless, how do you juggle, changing the different hats?
It's just a diamond. There's many facets to a diamond. So a diamond, when you turn it around, there's different angles of it. And so all of it is me. It's not me taking off one and putting on another. It's just me being,
sure,
you seeing that side of myself in a particular environment. So if I'm around a whole bunch of rappers and everybody's rapping, I'm probably gonna rap. If it's a panel discussion, I got something to say. If it's talking about expressing my story, I can do better writing it out than I can probably do it in a song. So it's just expression and a different sides of a diamond.
Sure. I'm excited for the book release. I'm a reader. I love books, so I'm excited for that. As an artist, you've evolved, like I said. What would your advice be to upcoming artists? Especially in a time like this, I find it a little bit more difficult, as for artists. But what would advice be to other artists that, are starting out and wanting to become more, I guess, out in the open with their ministry as an artist?
I just think, get people around you who can be honest with you. Get people around you who can tell you, what your skill sets are and what they aren't. I had good friends around me who were honest with me, and that helped me grow. Some people gonna have to tell you that's not a good song. And, as long as you're growing in your craft, you'll be great. But if you're not, I think artists need to treat the craft, sometimes we got to treat it like athletes and just work at it and work at it and work at it and perfect it. And then and have people who can look at it and say, I would tweak this, I would change this. So, yeah.
Thank you so much for the interview, Lecrae. Thank you for, like I said, I've watched you, and I love your career and the amazing things that you're doing. So, but thank you so much. I'm gonna end it right here. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Much love to you. God bless.
God bless.